a mature buck in October is just not going to get up and move before dark unless he's got the wind to his advantage. He's learned that, through the last 3, 4, 5 seasons. So if you can find a spot where you can get close to a buck on his travel pattern and you give him that perfect wind, you line that up with an evening where you've got a perfect moon that's going to instinctively and naturally push him to get up and feed anyway, and you're within earshot of that buck's bedding area, and you pick up the extinguisher or the black rack and just give him a little bit so that he hears deer in the area also, and you line all those things up and stack the deck in your favor, it's almost like it's not even fair. I mean, when you can put all that stuff together and have the discipline to wait for all that stuff to line up before you move in and kill a deer, like I said, it's almost not even fair. And 9 times out of 10 when you can do that, and when I've done it in the past, I get a big buck on the ground the first time I hunt a stand. So it's prime time. Sun just set. I pull out the extinguisher, give a couple grunts. And bam, there he is. I mean, he's not 30 yards away. I'm almost positive the deer just stood up out of his bed, heard me grunt, and now I'm already in the red zone. As close as this buck is, the last thing that I want to do is call directly at him, because chances are this buck's going to pinpoint me in the tree if I grunt right to him. I've got a little bit of wind, so it's going to help me get away with it. So I'm just going to turn my head, grunt a couple times behind me, got his attention. I don't really think he knows exactly what's going on other than the fact that there's another buck in the area, and it's definitely got him fired up because he's rubbing his tarsal glands together, getting some scent in the area. And this scenario is a perfect example of why I use the extinguisher. The natural soft tone that this call gives off is something that you can even use when you've got an animal 30 yards away from you. And it's given me a good opportunity to get a look at this buck's rack, because I've never seen this deer before. I don't know if he's a 130 or if he's a 160. It definitely looks like a good buck. And when this buck starts moving away, a lot of guys might start to panic, but being able to read this deer's behavior and knowing that a mature buck is going to try to get downwind of you, the last thing I'm going to do is get crazy with my calls and think that he's getting away from me. Really, all this buck's doing is trying to get up, get around, circle downwind of me, and get a nose full of what he thinks is in the area. This big buck is playing the game, and he's doing exactly what mature bucks do, especially in this tall, heavy cover where he can't actually see everything. He's using all of his senses. He's licking his lips and his nose, trying to smell anything that he might pick up, from another deer cruising through there. He's on full alert, trying to hear, trying to see, trying to find where that call came from, and he's about to get in trouble. I got a lot going on. I'm trying to follow this buck with the camera. I'm trying to get a good look at him through the binoculars to see if it's an animal that I really want to shoot. So I'm not doing much calling here. It's down to the point where I got to decide whether or not I want to kill this animal. When it comes to field judging an animal like this, I'm looking at his body. He doesn't look like he's got an enormous body. He's probably, right around that 4-year-old range. And as far as his rack goes, he looks like he's a solid 140 to 150. I mean, short tines is the first thing that caught my attention. He's got good mass, and it looks like he's got some extra stuff going on his rack. But this is not an animal that I'm really interested in shooting, but he's definitely a good mature buck. This hunt was a success in my book, and if this buck would have been another 40 inches bigger, pushing that 200-inch mark, it might have had a different outcome. But everything worked out perfect. Textbook response with this animal, responding to the call and how he came in. And this was an opportunity created by the extinguisher. You know, I could have very easily sat in this tree until dark and not made any calls, and that buck could have laid there until dark and I would have never even known he was there. Hunting is all about creating your own luck, and that's exactly what we did on this hunt.
I don't promote stuff that I don't believe in, but this is one call that has worked for me.
For nearly a decade, one calling system has consistently brought in more 200-inch bucks than any other. When your opportunity arises, what call will be hanging around your neck?
With the Extinguisher Game Call, we changed the way that the industry looks at grunt calls. There is no comparison between this call and any other call in being able to reproduce the exact sounds to make a whitetail do what I need them to do. I don't think there's anything else anywhere near the performance level that this call can produce.
With over 10 million deer hunters in this market, less than 1% of hunters will have an opportunity to own the Extinguisher and Black Rack this season. One thing I can tell you for sure, this system will change the way you hunt.